This time I want to talk about your life in Japan, but specifically, what surprised you about coming to Japan, first as a visitor, and then as someone living? 皆さんこんにちは、アーサーです。数ヶ月前に友達のアンディとの会話を紹介しました。その動画がかなり盛り上がったので、またアンディと話すことになって今回お届けしたいと思います。今回はアンディが日本に住んで驚いたことについてお話しします。いつも通り日本語と英語の字幕両方あるので、ぜひ自分のレスニングのために使ってください。始める前にあなたに聞きたいことがあります。日本に住んでる外国人に聞きたいことがありますか？気になることありますか？ぜひコメント欄でシェアしてください。Maybe next time I can ask it to the people that I talk with. Whoa, there's a bicycle outside. Well, Andy, thanks for joining me again today.
Yep. It's good to be here.
Oh, really? Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, a lot of people liked hearing your story, and so I thought today I wanted to talk with you about. By the way, nice Disney mug. That's my wife's.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. So this time I want to talk about your life in Japan, but specifically, what surprised you about coming to Japan, first as a visitor, and then as someone living here? We talked a little bit about it last time, but let's go into detail about surprising things. And are there things now that surprise you even now? Like I'll tell you, for example, in my case, one thing that still surprises me that I'm still not like completely used to is when people like count the money out at the register for me before they hand it to me.
Oh yeah. That is strange.
At first I was like, oh, do you think I'm gonna lie to you? That was really So what about you? What's something when you came as a visitor those years ago? What's something that shocked you?
Yeah, the first time I came, I think what shocked me the most was the crowds, because the first time I visited Japan, it was Tokyo actually, and I rode the train during rush hour.
Okay.
Yeah, so just that amount of like people being crammed together in small spaces like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that surprised me.
Yeah, what was it about that was so surprising for you?
Well, I just never experienced that before, like that level of population density.
Yeah.
I guess, in the small spaces and yeah.
I remember, dude, one time I was in like a rush hour train on the Chuo line, right?
Yeah.
And there was this one girl, she was probably like a elementary school student, and she was only like this tall, right? So she gets in, and there are all these people coming in, pushing her and like crushing her. And so like I make a little bit of space around, because I'm a big guy, so I make a little space. So people kind of like make a little bit of space so they don't really crush her. And she what was funny is we go to Shinjuku Station, right? And because I used to live in Nakano at that time, so it's only like one stop on the express. But I remember like I kind of like kept the space open for her so she didn't get suffocated. And right as we got to Shinjuku, she looked up at me and smiled, being like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah.
And then the doors open, everybody rush out, but her rucksack, her backpack gets caught between the people, and she gets like pulled out.
No.
So I just see her go like like that, right?
Yeah.
But
it's crazy.
Yeah, right? I'll never forget that as long as I live.
Yeah.
But what are there any other things related to like how many people are in Tokyo that shocked you, or any interesting stories?
I mean, there was I guess like kind of like that situation you just told me about. There was a time it was like I was on this crowded train and I was supposed to get off maybe 5 stops later.
Yeah.
But I ended up just getting off the train because the crowd pushed me out. Like I couldn't do anything, and then I had trouble getting back in, so I was just like, oh, I guess I'm getting off here.
Okay. If then the doors closed, you couldn't get back on the train.
Yeah. I just didn't want to push my way through because it was so crazy.
Yeah.
And I haven't really experienced that like that. I mean now we have COVID, but I haven't seen that level of density since then. So.
Have you? Wait. So do you know what station that was?
I think I was at Shinjuku Station. Yeah.
Dude, everything happens there.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that shocked you was just the amount of people. You know, what's another thing that when you first came to Japan as a tourist, as a visitor, that kind of shocked you?
I think people's politeness, like the basic customs. Like for instance, I remember when I was in Kyoto.
Yeah.
Like a young woman dropped her gloves. I was there in the winter, right? She dropped her gloves and I picked it up to give it to her, and she said "sumimasen." So when I learned that "sumimasen" is like sorry or excuse me. So in English we say thank you.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, like they're saying sorry, and I was like, I feel like that's not what what I expected. So
yeah, it's funny. I find that in Japanese culture, I've noticed in the language, the way that they say sorry is by saying what they did wrong. Or the way that they say thank you is by apologizing.
I see. Interesting.
So like
it's very different from what we're used to.
Like the Japanese word like moshiwake arimasen, which means I'm sorry, right?
Yeah.
It literally means I have no excuse.
Yeah. Okay.
Or like for instance like when a waiter brings food to someone, or like when someone has prepared something and is ready to give it to you, they say omatase shimashita, I made you wait.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think one thing for me that really shocked me was just how thin some of the buildings are.
Yeah, right.
Like they're like this wide.
Yeah, I've seen buildings that it's just the door, and I was like, what? I was thinking like, what can fit inside there?
I know. I just feel like I can go like, and then it's gonna fall over.
Right.
But yeah, one thing that I just can't imagine is like, you have these really tall buildings and like this much space in between them.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining like dominoes.
Right. And that's something that surprised me was earthquakes.
Yeah.
Because I never experienced earthquakes before coming.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that before. But
yeah. What was your first earthquake experience like?
It was really scary. It was terrifying. Actually, so the first time I experienced a major earthquake, or actually any earthquake in Tokyo, was in Tokyo. I was living on the top floor of this building.
Yeah.
Like the 11 stories. I was on the top floor, and this happened in the middle of the night. I was asleep, and I thought someone was shaking my bed.
Yeah.
Like literally someone broke in and was shaking my bed.
Yeah.
And I woke up and the whole room was shaking.
Wow.
And then for like a few minutes after, the whole building was like this. And it felt like a boat. I was on a boat, and I was really terrified.
Yeah.
But then I found out later that's a good thing. That means the building is safe against earthquakes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I remember the first day. It was probably around like 6 a.m. I woke up and I was thinking, why is my bed shaking? Wait, I'm in a futon. There's no. Holy crap! It's an earthquake. Yeah. Well, so okay, so like those are some things that shocked you as a visitor, but as time goes on, you get used to those things.
Right.
But nowadays, after living in Japan, what's something that shocked you as a resident living here?
Yeah, that's so hard because now it's like nothing shocks me when it should. But I think dealing with the immigration office, the bureaucracy, like that stuff really shocked me. Yeah. For instance, recently I had my number card issued, and so I went to the office, and then they made me write on a piece of paper my number, like it's a social security number or something. It's an important number. They just had me pick some random numbers myself, which is, in the States or most places in the world, this stuff is all digital, electronic. They will give you a secure password. Yeah. So I thought that was shocking, like that even in the 21st century, there's still these old paper and pencil processes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
How about you?
well, actually, I want to ask people first. そこで皆さんにお聞きしたいんですけど、やっぱりその日本の市役所とかで、その手続きで面倒だなと思ったことがありましたか? If you have an experience like that, ぜひコメント欄でシェアしてください. Yeah, a lot of people that it's very nice getting people's comments, but for me, it was the same process too, because I just remember when I decided I was going to live here and I had to go through the process of not being a resident to finding a place to live. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like
there's a lot of paperwork and interviews and things. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember what was it? So I went to go get an apartment and they said, "Oh, you don't have an address. You need to get an address." So I was staying at my friend's house in Bunkyoku. Yeah. And then I went to the Bunkyoku Kuyakusho. And I registered my address. That was fine. Then I go back and they're like, "Oh, you don't have a phone number?" Okay. So I go get my phone number. "Oh, you don't have a bank?
Card.
Or like, you don't have a credit card or bank?" Oh, okay, I got to go get a bank.
Yes.
Okay, got a bank. "Oh, you don't have an income?" Oh, okay, I got to go get my income. And just like all these things, no one would tell me like the whole picture.
Exactly. Yes, I had the same thing. Like I was trying to open a bank account and they're like, "You need a phone number."
Yeah.
So I went to get a phone. They're like, "You need a credit card." And I was like, "I can't get a credit card if I don't have a bank account."
Yeah.
So it's like, how things are just confusing. And
how did you end up getting a bank account then? Do you have one?
I don't even. Yeah, I got one.
Okay.
I don't remember how I got it. So like what I did is I think I used my girlfriend's phone number first.
I know.
I got my bank account and then I signed up for a phone.
Yeah. I used my friend's address first.
Because like at first I was like, well, I really need a phone number. Yeah. My girlfriend's like, no, just give them my number. Like, they don't know. It's
Yeah, dude, that's.
But yeah, the bureaucracy and how it's inconvenient, and also the low tech. Like going back to like the technology stuff. Like my friends that have never been to Japan are like, "Oh, I heard Japan's really high tech." I'm like, no, it's actually like in some ways,
Yeah.
it is, but then in a lot of ways, it's like
What are some ways that it is high tech for you?
I think like, and this is another thing that shocked me when I first came is the toilets.
The toilets.
Yeah, they're really advanced. They're really nice, and it's like so advanced.
Yeah.
Like nowhere else in the world
Yeah.
it's like that, and it's very comfortable. But
Yeah. One of the things that's still like, I've been living here for years now, but one thing that still gets me is I don't have to deal with cold toilet seats anymore.
Yeah, I know.
You know, like,
They're like spoiled. Yeah.
especially you're from like Minnesota, so you've
Yeah.
experienced too, where like you wake up, because in America it's not plastic, it's porcelain, you know.
Right.
And so, like, have you ever had that experience where like you're like, I need to poop?
Yeah,
Then you're just-
I know. I hate it. So it's such a nice thing, like a nice luxury. But interestingly enough, like some of my friends, maybe it's just because my friends are strange, but my friends in Minnesota, they have like Japanese toilets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like a few of them, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, how'd you get into it? It's weird, but they're like, no, and I don't think they even have been to Japan.
Yeah.
But somehow they realized the same thing. They're like, oh, we're sick of cold toilets.
Yeah.
So
It's a big problem.
Yeah.
Thank you, Japan, for fixing our cold toilet seat
Yes.
problem. Man, okay, so yeah, that's interesting. So okay, with toilet seats, it's very high tech. Is there any other sort of high tech thing that you were kind of surprised about?
I mean the robotics
Yeah.
stuff, which I think I mentioned before. It doesn't seem too practical to me,
Yeah.
but it's really cool. Like
Yeah.
I think once I stayed at a hotel and they had the pepper robot as the concierge, like greeting me and stuff.
Yeah.
So the robotic stuff was pretty
Okay.
interesting and advanced.
What's something that's kind of low tech for you that you were kind of shocked
Let's
at?
see. I mean, aside from the government office stuff, just like I heard like just work in office environments, a lot of stuff is still on paper.
Yeah.
Like I've heard people say that there's a lot of people use fax machines
Yeah.
still in businesses, or people manually fill out
Yeah.
paperwork and then copy it and then
Yeah.
email it to somebody who prints it. And
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I got a business bank account here, and I'm not going to say the bank, but I remember I showed you this. Like, I had to like put in my password, and I had to
Yeah.
handwrite my password
Yeah.
for them.
As a software engineer, I was like,
Yeah.
bad. This is really
Yeah.
bad. This is really bad and dangerous.
Yeah, there was another case too working here where I was working with a company and I was going to make videos for them, you know, because they saw my YouTube and stuff. But I couldn't send them via Dropbox or Gigafile. Like now people are using online file sharing services, which is
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
But this company, they sent me an external hard drive. And I had to
like
mail it back.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have that tech thing. So what in your personal experience, because you've been here for years and you're not an expert in Japan, but why do you think it is that these differences still exist? Like this old tech is still being
that's a good
used?
question. I mean, I'm just like jumping to conclusions here, but I feel like people seem to be like not quick to adopt change.
Yeah.
Adopt new processes. Like, for instance, if there's a certain business practice that everybody does, I think that people will just do it, especially if it's like something that takes time. They don't mind working hard. They have like a good solid work ethic. Right? Yeah. So, and in my case, like especially as a programmer, I'm kind of lazy.
Yeah.
Like, I found that computers can do my work for me.
Yeah.
So I like to like, instead of doing this task that I do every day, I like to like cut the time out so I can do something more interesting, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like at least the people I've met here, that's not really as much of a concern.
Yeah. それで皆さんにまたお聞きしたいと思うんですけど、やっぱりその海外とかアメリカとかヨーロッパだといろんな手続きはデジタル化されていて、やっぱり実際に手書きすることがほとんどなくなってるんですね。でも日本ではなぜかその手書きしないといけないフォームとか用紙とかまだたくさんある、が必要な手続きがたくさんあると思うので、それはなぜその紙ベースの手続きがまだ多いのか、ちょっと何か思い浮かべる理由がありましたらぜひコメント欄で教えてください。Yeah. いかがでしたか？楽しんでいただけたらとても嬉しいです。忘れないでください。英語は科目ではなくコミュニケーションです。世界の方々と心を伝え合うためのツールです。もしあなたが英語を学んでも外国人と対面したら頭が真っ白になって言葉が出てこないということを経験したことがある場合はぜひ IU-Connect をご覧ください。My mission through IU-Connect is to help you not just learn English but be able to connect with people and communicate with people in the real world. 詳しくは you can click up here or you can click the link below. As always, enjoy your English adventures. 一緒に世界とつながりましょう。See you next time.